Coming up on this episode of The Social Hour, paying to promote your friend's Facebook post? Why would you ever want to do that? Amber and I are going to talk about it. Plus, getting community-driven with Nextdoor.com. And Winston reads you the news. Who is he? We're going to tell you all of that and the Harlem Shake. Is it a fad or is it here to stay? Up next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Audio bandwidth provided by the new Winamp for Android, featuring wireless sync and one-click iTunes import. Now with free daily music downloads and full-length CD listening parties. Download it for free at winamp.com/Android. Bandwidth for the Social Hour is brought to you by Cashfly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is The Social Hour with Sarah Lane and Amber MacArthur, episode 98, recorded Friday, February 15th, 2013. This episode of The Social Hour is brought to you by Squarespace, the fast and easy way to create a high-quality website, blog, or online portfolio. For a free trial and 10% off your first purchase on new accounts, go to squarespace.com and use the offer code SOCIALHOUR2. They recently launched a developer platform for complete code control as well. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of The Social Hour. It is episode 98. That was a good year. From Twit World Headquarters in Petaluma, California, I'm Sarah Lane.
And I'm Amber MacArthur from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Thinking back to 98, and I can't say I remember too much, but I'm guessing it was also a good year, Sarah. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, Amber. 98 was the year I graduated college and started my very first full-time job. And didn't actually work for a minimum wage anymore. So
yeah, I think I'm about close to there too. But I think it was 99, and then I moved out to San Francisco. Sarah, we could have walked by each other on the streets then. We didn't even know it.
We may have, in fact. We may have done
possible.
That. Kind of fun. And now we work together, and you're really far away from me, and you live in the snow.
And you're not really in San Francisco anymore, so what are you going to do?
Yeah.
At least for work.
It's true. It's true. So we've got quite a jam-packed show today, Amber. And I guess we're going to start off with, this is a story that you added in. I'm trying to wrap my head around who would want to buy things using American Express via Twitter.
Yeah, so this is kind of interesting. And I have to say, it took me a little bit of time kind of reading a few different articles to understand this story. Obviously, there are a lot of people trying to figure out how to monetize on Twitter. Well, American Express has come up with one idea, and this idea it's pretty interesting. And this is in conjunction with people who are subscribed to a certain type of American Express service. So basically, what happens if these card holders are following American Express on Twitter, and then American Express will send out specials and offers for certain establishments using a specific hashtag. If the card holder then uses that hashtag, as far as I understand, then they will get a discount at that particular venue. So let's say, this is one example I just found online. Let's say all of a sudden the card holder uses the hashtag American or Amex McDonald's, and that was one of the offers that was offered by American Express. They tweet that out using the hashtag. They then go to McDonald's, then they will get a $5 credit on their next purchase there. So a little fuzzy around the details, and many people kind of concerned that maybe this means that all of a sudden we're going to see a lot of unnecessary hashtags in terms of transactions going back and forth on Twitter.
Yeah, and some folks in chat room were saying, oh, it sounds like a bunch of spam. And that's my first reaction too, is when I see hashtags that are pretty obviously advertising, in general, I don't click through. I don't really know. I understand what the value is for the customer. I guess I understand the value of the brand just because their brand names are showing up in hashtags. But but how does that further the brand? I mean, if I see hashtag McDonald's or something, and I can tell that it's some sort of, oh, I'm getting a deal for tweeting this. Am I really going to click through and see what all the other tweets that say McDonald's are saying? I don't think I've ever done that.
Yeah, I mean, I think this maybe falls into a category of just brand loyalty. So maybe it's a situation where Amex card holders, we know there's a lot of competition out there. So this is just another offering from them where they know they have that social media clientele, and this gives them a chance to really cater to that clientele in a new way. So I don't think, based on the articles I've read, that they necessarily have all of the kinks worked out. I think there are going to be issues, but it seems more like an experiment. That's what category I would put it into right now.
Well, and I guess there's some sort of, I mean, Twitter is very interested in figuring out how, not only how Twitter monetizes, but how brands can leverage Twitter to monetize as well. So this seems like an experiment that American Express is a huge brand. If there's some success here, it definitely paves the way for other brands to get creative and use Twitter as a platform for giving people coupons, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, perhaps it's Twitter who gets the most out of this, because if they can prove there's a way to monetize that platform better than just sponsored tweets, then I think it gives them opportunities to get into kind of the e-commerce world and potentially being able to see higher revenue. So I think they could definitely benefit from something like this, but I think it's more of an evolution. I think we'll see this idea kind of grow over the next couple of years, and hopefully it isn't too spam-like, because I agree that could be a bit of a concern.
Yeah, absolutely. Another concern is the idea that I could pay $7, Amber, to promote your tweet. Is that right?
Yes. I know. This is like shocker news, right? I read this a couple of times, and
this is Facebook, right? This isn't Twitter.
Yes, Facebook. Yeah.
Okay.
Still equally as weird, though. I mean, the idea that they're rolling this out so that you can promote a friend's Facebook post if you feel like they're not getting enough attention. But here's the catch: you can do it without their permission. So I can't believe Facebook is doing this. I mean, this just seems like something that has so much potential to really go wrong in so many ways.
Well,
what do you think?
So we I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about instances where I could get something out of promoting someone else's Facebook post. So I used this example on TNT earlier. I had a friend who was trying to get the word out about a couple of cats, his dad's cats, that had to be basically surrendered to a shelter, and he was really worried that they weren't going to find a good home, and so I was kind of helping spread the word. I would have paid $7 a couple of weeks ago. Some of you might have seen this Facebook post, but there's a good chance you didn't. I might have paid the $7 to kind of make it stick and to have more people actually see the post that I made, because I was really trying to help him out. You know, this was it was a good deed type of a thing. And I guess if you were participating in maybe a marathon for cancer research or something along those lines, where it would be well worth $7 to get, you know, the greater message out. That's great. But yeah, I mean, if you, Amber, got I don't know, like you had posted something and it was maybe, I don't know, just something that you didn't feel so great about, or you said something stupid, or it was kind of a funny picture, and I sort of wanted to humiliate you. Of course, I would never do this to you, by the way, but just talking in general,
Sure,
I could pay
Sarah.
a little bit of money to maybe get that photo or update or something seen by a lot of people without your permission. There will have to be some way for you in your privacy settings to at least be able to say, I have to explicitly let Sarah promote my post, even if she's the one paying the $7.
It comes down to your settings, your privacy settings when you're posting. So if you say that, only, some of your friends are able to see certain things, I mean, you can control it that way. But generally speaking, I mean, most people I know don't really manage their privacy settings that well on Facebook. So whatever they put out there to their friends in some ways is fair game. Now, I agree there are lots of wonderful examples of how people can use this to benefit their friends. The issue I have is that I think that there could be instances where, someone is in a fight with a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a relative, whatever it might be, and this kind of turns sour. So I don't really understand why Facebook doesn't build something in where it says that, hey, Sarah wants to help promote a marathon you're running, and then I have to check, yes, I have no problem with her sharing that through a promoted post. I mean, that seems like a logical thing to do, but of course, Facebook has left that out of the equation.
Well, that's odd. What's
It's
also
very odd.
interesting is that I assume, because if I was paying to promote your post and, person C sees it but is not friends with you, then they'd have to have some sort of indication that it was a promoted story, or else they'd be very confused. Amber MacArthur, I don't know this person. Why is she at the top of my newsfeed? So, yeah, it sounds like this is, a potential revenue generator. I mean, somebody's going to pay for this. I don't know how many. I don't know how often. But it seems like something Facebook can experiment with. And if it gets weird, then they can add the privacy settings in later. They're pretty good at that.
Yeah, that's exactly what they'll do. I have no expectations that they will do anything upfront to ease the privacy pain. Nonetheless, moving on to another platform, we've covered off something happening on Twitter, on Facebook. Now we can move over to Google Plus, Sarah. And this was kind of interesting. I know people have been using Google Plus to promote a bunch of different things, but haven't seen too much done as far as movies, and especially when it comes to Hangouts. This was an interesting idea. So this is a movie called The Internship, and it's with Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. And basically during, I think it was a Conan hangout, they promoted the trailer to the movie because The Internship is all about doing an internship at Google. That's the premise of the film. And an interesting way to promote something that's happening in theaters soon.
Well, so Conan O'Brien is hosting the hangout for the Google movie, the movie about Google premiering, correct? So this is not, you're not going to be able to watch the movie via Google Hangout, right?
No. You can't watch the movie. They just launched the trailer during the Google Plus Hangout. So that was kind of the twist on things.
Well, that's kind of cool, though. I mean, hey, it's a movie about Google, so it certainly makes sense, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody likes Conan, and this is sort of a good place to think of, Google Plus. This is an exclusive place to see something that you wouldn't see otherwise. And this really sort of puts, even though the movie's about Google, they could use this as just a launching board for more content like this. I don't know how much Facebook is doing the sort of Hollywood tie-in these days, but remember a couple of years ago, there was a lot of exclusive interviews and feeds and stuff like this that I remember starting to equate Facebook with. I don't really know why they got away from that, but maybe this is a good opportunity for Google to be a place where you hang out and you watch stuff that's entertainment based.
I mean, I think people have said this many times before, but I think the killer app on Google Plus is the Hangouts, right? Hangouts are a ton of fun. I do them all the time internally just with the guys in my company. So we'll get together and do a weekly hangout. And it's a great platform to broadcast on. And it's tons of fun. And I think they've nailed it when it comes to something like this. I don't think anyone else has anything really that could compete with what they've developed. So I think the idea that Google is kind of taking the Google Plus Hangout technology and doing more with it, whether it's President Obama, who is using it to address the nation, or it's something like a movie trailer that was just unveiled recently, you can see that that's the platform. It seems like they're putting a lot of emphasis on Hangouts, and I think that makes perfect sense for them. That's the one feature I think that really sets them apart from other social networks.
Absolutely. Speaking of a social network, I guess you could call it a social network. It's Kickstarter. We've talked about Kickstarter projects in the past. Kickstarter projects are far and wide. People raise money. It's a crowdsourced funding project for a variety of things, whether it's a movie or a gadget or there was a spaceship. That was last week. That was sort of a joke, but all sorts of things that me as somebody, if I have this great idea, I'm going to make a really cool new wearable computer watch because nobody else is working on that, and I need a bunch of money because how am I going to manufacture all of this stuff, in mass numbers? I could basically say, I probably need about $100,000 to get the whole thing off the ground. And I can say, if you pay me in $5 increments or if I can have certain different levels of who pays me what, and then you get incentives, as an early adopter and somebody who sort of helped me achieve my dream. Maybe you get one of the first watches that come off the assembly line, that sort of thing. Well, a lot of us are familiar with Kickstarter. New iPhone app, actually. I am using my iPad because it's just kind of easier to see over the shoulder. But, SarahZerlian.com, create new account, discover projects for the weekly newsletter. I'm not going to do that right now. I just get a lot of that stuff. This is their new iPhone app, and it's nice because I don't actually have a Kickstarter event. Push notifications? No. A Kickstarter project that I am currently raising money for. But if I did, this would be a way that I could keep track of who had been sending me money and how many people were participating, if I was close to meeting my goal. But just as somebody who likes to browse Kickstarter projects, and every so often I end up contributing to one that I think is really, really cool, that's deserving of my money, or I'm really excited about the product that's eventually going to become reality. I can browse as well. So I'm just looking at staff picks, but I can look at what's popular. I can search for something specific. I can say, I'm just super interested in something that's photography based. I mean, who's got some great idea that I might be able to help them with? So this is actually, as far as discovery, I almost prefer it to the website.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I read some feedback from people, and it seemed like many people were really happy with the whole experience. Like, I could see browsing through this much more using the app than the website. So it's a smart idea for them to do this. And the interface looks gorgeous. I mean, you just feel like you want to kind of discover and you want to read this. I mean, it's exciting to see all of these great ideas that people have, and some maybe not so great.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's nice about the Kickstarter projects, and it works so well, at least on an iPad. And again, this is an iPhone app, but I'm looking at this 2X and it's perfectly fine. I can't even, it almost looks like Retina to me. It's weird. But it's lovely. And all the projects have little explainer videos. So there's a lot to it. You can read more about a project. Ooh, this is where we start getting into the landscape mode here. But you can read more about a project. You can see, who has participated so far. I can decide to back it. But if I'm just interested in more of like, what's this project all about? How did it come to be? Whatever this is, I like it already. It's like fire people. Sounds good. They've got these neat explainer videos, and some of the Kickstarter explainer videos alone are really, really creative.
I know, they're so well done.
Yeah, they are. So anyway, it's a completely free app. Obviously, if you're contributing to somebody's Kickstarter project, there are a variety of different prices and tiers that you might be participating in. But the app alone is completely free, again, if you're on iOS.
Yeah, it's very slick. All right, Sarah, for this next story, and I have to say, I have not heard about the social site Nextdoor at all. So this is exciting for me because it looks like they've just raised a bunch more money, or have a lot of money in the bank right now.
Yeah, so I'm a huge Nextdoor fan, and the reason is I recently moved apartments. And San Francisco is a really scary place to find an apartment right now because we've got a lot more demand than supply. And we've got a lot of Silicon Valley money and IPO rich people, and people are paying crazy rents. And I was terrified that I was just, going to go broke trying to find my next new apartment. A friend of mine said, "Well, do you want to stay in your neighborhood?" And I said, "Yeah, I love my neighborhood. I'm just kind of looking for a deal." And he said, "Why don't you sign up for Nextdoor?" Had never heard of it. Jason, I've actually got my profile up on my computer right now. And in the neighborhood, this is Hayes Valley, Lower Haight, which is an area of San Francisco. What I did is I signed up for this particular neighborhood. And what I had to do actually was, you have two options. You can either have them to sort of prove that you actually live there. You can either have them send you a postcard that's got a little code. It takes a couple days. Then you enter that code neat. And they say, okay, you actually live where you say you live. Or you can, I think you pay like 2 cents with your credit card, and your credit card is associated with your current address. So it's just a way to keep it really honest. If somebody's saying that they're in this neighborhood, they really are my neighbor. And you get to know these folks. And they actually are, they're physically located not that far away from you. You don't have to give your specific address, just kind of, the general coordinates. Oh, I'm on Octavia. Oh, cool, I'm on Fell. That sort of thing. And then there's a little bit of a buying and selling, a bartering type thing. If there's an event going on, we're going to have maybe the dog shelter is going to come down to the park, and let's spread the word. It's going to be kind of fun, to be like an adopt-a-thon type thing. You can post an event. There was a rash of home break-ins in the neighborhood a couple of months ago, and people were posting their stories about exactly what happened, and you got to look out for this, and this is, what the car looked like, the getaway car. All of that stuff it's really important, community-driven. It's like Neighborhood Watch, really.
Yeah.
And it's very well done. It's very cool. And the reason that I signed up for Nextdoor initially was my first post was like, "Hi everybody, I'm Sarah. I just want to kind of blast out if there are any landlords who are on Nextdoor, or you've heard of something, or maybe you're moving. I just feel like I should cover all my bases because I was looking for an apartment." And sure enough, there was a couple that got back to me. I didn't end up taking this apartment, that said, "Yeah, actually, maybe we could look at each other's apartments because we've got this place that sounds a lot like what you're looking for, and we kind of think that your place sounds pretty cool." So it was potentially a perfect situation, but I still really like it because I love the idea of being on a social network with people that I'm going to see at the coffee shop.
Oh, sure.
And I can say hello when we see each other on the street, and our closeness actually helps us with, can I borrow your big ladder? I just don't have one, that kind of thing every once in a while.
Yeah, it's an awesome idea. I mean, I know in my neighborhood in Toronto, we have a community site that is fairly active, but I just feel like it seems a little bit dated to me in some ways, in the sense that it doesn't have all the technology that I would like built into a site, and it just seems a little old, like typical kind of message boards, and no verification if anyone actually lives in this particular neighborhood. But I love this idea. I mean, I think, as much as we've always talked about technology and social media and social network allowing us to reach out to anyone in the world, really it's about the 8-block radius that you live in for most people. At least for me, I spend so much time just in our neighborhood. So it seems really cool, the idea that you can have a social network just for your tiny little community, and I think the community could grow from that too. Yeah.
Nextdoor is cool. If you're interested, you can if you're interested in your neighbors, getting to know them anyway. Maybe you already know them. Not in my city. It's sometimes you don't know the people who live on the other side of the wall in the apartment building. But yeah, so that's Nextdoor, and they did raise a bunch of money, so hopefully they'll be around a while, and be launching in more markets soon.
Sarah, did you find a place though?
Yeah, I did. So all is well. I'm not living out of a garbage can in an alley behind Blue Bottle Coffee, although it would probably smell really good. But no, yeah, all is well. All is well. I'm safe. I'm safe and sound. Yeah. Cool. Amber, there seems to be a bit of an epidemic of companies that want little animated GIF looping video type services, whether they build it internally or they acquire somebody else. And Vimeo is the latest to acquire a GIF making app called Echograph, which the article on VentureBeat says, well, this is going to challenge Vine, this is going to challenge Cinemagram. It's a little bit closer to Cinemagram than Vine. Vine is not an animated GIF program. It's just a short bursts of video that loop program. But sometimes the effects are kind of similar. I mean, the idea is something that has slight motion, I guess. Mm-hmm. And Echograph I have played with a little bit. But as far as Vimeo goes, where you can isolate the motion in part of the frame so that it's kind of neat looking. It's very visual. It's very creative, potentially. But what do you think Vimeo needs with this? Is it just because Vimeo is a video site and so this is kind of hot right now?
Yeah, I mean, I would never have paired them up initially. First of all, I will say that I hadn't heard a lot about Echograph, but I kind of love the idea. I mean, I think, it's so much more artistic in some ways than Vine. I'm sure a lot of people who are creative in Vine will hate that I said this, but just that you can get that motion in a tiny piece of video based on the process that you go through within the app. So as far as Vimeo buying it, maybe it just kind of keeps them in the game. They realize that this is the future, perhaps, in terms of having shorter video content. Vimeo has always done really well, at least for most filmmakers, artistic types who do really high quality video. Most of them I know will go to Vimeo before they go to YouTube. So it seems like they want to still capture that artist in that community that's going there, but who maybe doesn't have, these longer films, but instead something really short and sweet. So it could be just the next evolution of the brand, trying to cater to an audience where it isn't as much about that longer form.
Yeah, very true, very true. And Vimeo is, Leo and I were just talking about this on iPad Today yesterday, that Vimeo has always kind of been that very artsy, if you just even look at the Vimeo staff pics, sometimes I sort of get lost watching them because I'll AirPlay them to my big TV. And there's a lot of really creative folks putting stuff on Vimeo. But again, I mean, hey, you and I are creative too, but I'm probably more likely to put together something on Echograph than I am to put together some long-form music video on Vimeo, because that's just not really what I do. So yeah, maybe it's just, hey, Vimeo is throw up your videos, look at other people's videos, but also you can be creative in this GIF kind of a way, because animated GIFs are just all over the web right now.
Yeah, just these shorter bursts. And I think the app is just fun. I mean, I know it's hard to explain when we're just talking about it, but if you go and look at it, I mean, it's neat, the idea you record kind of a piece of video and then you find a great still frame, and then you're able to use your finger to almost like erase the stillness of the image, if I can say it like that. So that turns back into video. So you could have a picture of a stream and then all of a sudden make the stream have that motion in the water again. So I think it's something I've never seen before in terms of different apps to be able to do stuff like this. So I like it. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, me too. Hey, quick reminder that we record the Social Hour live on Fridays, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. If you're ever looking for some back episodes, in fact, a couple of you wrote us about that just this week saying, where do I find, I just discovered your show, I like it, where do I find some of your older episodes and some of your cool guest interviews that you're always mentioning? twit.tv/TSH is our website. You can subscribe to the show there. That means all future shows will be delivered to you without you having to go and find it, which is very, very convenient. But for that back catalog, all of our episodes are here as well. So you find the one you're interested in, and the video is embedded right there on the page. And if you want to download the video, that's fine too. You got lots of options. And of course, if you have feedback for us, you can email us at thesocialhour@twit.tv. And we're going to get to some of your feedback just a little later in the show. But before we get into some tips, we got a spotlight, we got some videos that a viewer sent in. Let's take a moment to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this episode of The Social Hour. I think I mentioned recently that I'm in the middle of revamping my very own website, sarahlene.com. I use Squarespace. I've migrated over to Squarespace 6, which is a great experience. Oh my gosh, I've always loved Squarespace, but boy, they've really simplified it, even for me, and I was familiar with Squarespace before. What's nice is that I can create a very high quality blog. That's what I'm interested in. I kind of want a place to talk about my feelings, and people can read it if they want to, and they can comment, and it's kind of, you know, a place for everyone to hang out. But it can be a high quality website, an online portfolio. You can showcase, you know, things that you've made. You can have forums. There are a variety of templates. If you take a lot of pictures, but you're a man or woman of few words, Squarespace has a lot of options, and they even have some really great templates that you can just use as a jumping off point. Your blog, your website can look any way you want it to, really. But I've found their templates, at least at the beginning, to be great. But you can go nuts. I mean, you can start from scratch. You can write your own code for your website at Squarespace. It's just that you don't have to. Squarespace makes it really, really easy to be up and running with a beautiful website, and it's fast and easy to use. Really nice templates, 100% drag and drop functionality for all of your customization tools. And that's great, because sometimes you really don't know how many pixels you want it to move. You just know what you want it to look like. So that's really, really helpful. Also, social media integration. Anybody who watches The Social Hour cares about that, right? We're all over the web, so you can automatically import, you can sync, you can publish to and from your various favorite social sites, dynamically refreshing your site content, so that people know, oh, okay, look, Sarah's on Twitter. Wow, she's really on Twitter. She's on Instagram. She's taken all sorts of photos. These are places that, you know, I should follow her. I should be aware of. And it's just really, really well designed. Each template has hundreds of customization options available. And I really mean that when I say that. I was looking through some of the templates the other day thinking, well, what's the right template for me? And Squarespace has put together real-world websites that are using this template, but have made it their own to the point where they almost don't look anything like each other. You go, oh, wow, that is really cool. Oh, I see what they did there. And they use this template as the basis for what's turned out to be a really beautiful website. So if you're interested, if you're ready to start that blog or that diary or that photo gallery or anything like that, go to squarespace.com to start a free trial. You can sign up for a free account. It is easy to use, just takes a second, no credit card needed. Just try it out, start building your website. You can import from other blogging engines like Typepad or WordPress, that sort of thing. So if If you want to just see what it looks like on Squarespace, you can certainly do that. Then if you decide to purchase the plan, use the offer code SOCIALHOUR2 and you get 10% off your first purchase on new accounts. Includes monthly and annual plans. Again, that's squarespace.com. Try it out. And when you decide to buy, use the offer code SOCIALHOUR2 for 10% off your account. All right, Amber, we are ready for our social tip, and I love this one because I have, well, probably about 20 browser tabs open right now, and I have browser tab closing fear.
Of course you do. Okay, Sarah. Okay, but before we get to this, I just have to address, someone just tweeted me. It's Luke who's watching the show. And he just tweeted me to mention something before we get to our social tip, which is a good one this week. He had asked if we could show this vine of this crazy backyard luge I made after a snowstorm here in Toronto. And if you guys will indulge me, I will just tell the story for like literally 15 seconds.
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay. So the gist of it is that we had a big snowstorm in Toronto. We had more than a foot of snow last weekend. Chris had gone off to do something on Saturday night, and I came up with this idea that I could pack the snow up from the top of our deck down to our backyard, which is kind of a very steep hill, and build almost like a luge for my son and my friend Karen's son. And she shot this little vine, and I think this is a perfect example of where Vine works. So basically for our audio listeners, you can see the luge is quite high, and the boys are sliding down, and it's a great little example of a Vine and just some fun content, and a very cool luge, and I'm quite proud of myself.
Yeah, and you know, this is probably because obviously there was a little bit of time between both of those rides. That was something that maybe you could have edited, or it would have been sort of a long video with a little too much waiting, you know?
Yeah.
Or like, okay, now it's time to trudge up the hill before you go back down again. So yeah, Vine really works well in this case, and it is easy to use.
For something like that, exactly. Okay, so now on to browser tabs. So Sarah, this is totally for you. I just saw this and I thought, Sarah needs to know this because I know I do it too, but I don't think to the same extent perhaps you do. Discovered this on Lifehacker, and it is some advice for people who perhaps use browsers and keep open dozens and dozens of tabs. It's saying that you should never have more than 9 browser tabs open at any time. That's the magic number for a couple of reasons. One, it's going to slow down your browser, so it's not the browser's fault, it's your fault for having so many tabs open. Also, because you can't possibly stay up to date and bounce between that many things at the same time. It's just impossible to multitask in that sense. And the list of reasons goes on and on. So Sarah, I wanted to share that advice with you because I know, like you said, you have a lot of tabs open. You just confessed.
I do have a lot of tabs open. In fact, I counted. I said 20. They're actually just 19. But that's not even that many for me because I can tell by how big they are. You know, that the thing is so I want to only have 9 tabs open. Amber, I have at any given time at least 4 tabs that are all Gmail accounts that I like to look at separately. You know, I've got a personal. I've got 2 personal. I got a work one. I've got our social hour email inbox that's just open at any given time. I have some Google spreadsheets that are open because that's what I use for various shows here at Twit. It's like, I mean, I max out before I'm even looking beyond my day-to-day routine. I mean, this isn't even like fun browsing yet. If I want to get into fun browsing, then it's like another 10 tabs. How do we do that?
It's too many. It's too many, Sarah. I don't know. You know what? I do the same thing, but I have to tone it down sometimes because really, actually, after I have so many tabs open, I can't find anything anymore, and I'm no longer productive. So I just am remembering their little warning and thought I would share it with everyone today.
You know, FC Photo in chat brings up a very good point. People have been suggesting this to me for years. Who says, why don't you set up email forwarding and then just filter via labels so you only have to have 1 email tab open, but all of your accounts are accounted for? I don't know. I don't know why I don't do that.
I don't know if you're ready for that, maybe, Sarah.
There's something about switching tabs that makes me feel psychologically like I'm going to a different place. Mm-hmm. Maybe the labels aren't quite that. I don't know. I should try that. I should, Amber. Or I'm never going to get down to 9 tabs, ever.
Never. All right, Sarah, this is a fun one that you discovered, and I think I ran across this over the past week, too. It's called Winston.
Yes, so Winston is the idea of having, there you are, having news stories read to you. This is not totally new, but it's, can you, volume turned up.
Please make sure your volume is turned up.
Yes, continue.
Hello, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, hi.
I am Winston,
your personal news and information assistant. It is my distinct privilege to serve you a personalized news experience. Let us begin. Please select some of your favorite news interests.
So here's what's neat about Winston. Some of, I don't know if we've talked about it so much on the social hour. We've definitely covered it on both i5 and iPad today because there are a lot of apps that want to read news stories to you.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, and often they can be interesting, but people complain, oh, the voice is like, it's like a Siri voice, or it's like robotic and it's kind of weird. Winston is designed to sort of do the same thing, but again, I can say, I'm interested in technology for sure.
When you are finished, please swipe from right to left.
Maybe so, let's say fashion. We'll start, tech, entertainment, and fashion, okay.
With your permission, I would like to use
Yeah, sure.
location services have been authorized. Your installation is now complete.
Oh
How
boy,
exciting.
I'm
This
excited.
is the main menu where you can launch any news or social channel. You can also tap the briefing
All
tile
right.
to Good afternoon. Here are the most recent technology updates. On Yahoo OS recent fourth quarter earnings call, CEO Samir called the
This is so
companion
great.
A circumflex nascent source of revenue. A circumflex, a theme she reiterated in her appearance.
All right, so we could do this whole day. Let's take just a breather so I can explain what's going on here. This is really cool. So this is taking the idea of reading news stories to you just based on what the text in the article says and makes it more of almost a synopsis that you would, hear on public radio or something. I mean, what I'm seeing on the screen and the little the truncated headline is different than what Winston is reading to me. It's as if he's my personal reporter and just saying, what do you want to hear about? I will read it to you based on these articles. Now, of course, All Things D and Kara Swisher, this is actually an article that I would read because I read a lot of tech stuff, particularly for Tech News Today. But you can move on to another article, go into another category.
Watch another newscast.
I don't know. I love this, Amber. Do you
it's fun.
find much of a need for this? Do you like his voice?
Yeah, I do like the voice, actually. I think that's a really good point. And I was just talking recently about an app called Guide, which I don't think has come out yet. It's being developed in Miami. Have you heard of it, Sarah? Mm-mm. Okay, so same sort of idea, but basically you can pick an animated like robot to read you the news. So it's a little bit more visual, I think, than Winston. And it will be out soon. And it does the same type of thing as far as reading aloud your favorite news sites or blogs or articles or whatever they might be. The difference is they assign an actual, almost like a digital personality to it. So you can pick from all of the just different news anchors. You could even pick a cat, Sarah, to read you the news.
What does a cat sound? Well,
Well, it's just a robotic voice. It's not, so it's kind of mashed up, right? But I'm just saying, I was trying to like appeal to your love of cats.
I'm like, that's great, but wait a second. Does it still sound like a person?
Yes, it sounds like a person, I think. Anyway, so I see so many of these apps coming out, but it's good to know that Winston is one that's actually kind of useful.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a combination of, okay, the news is going to be read to me because maybe I can't be looking at the screen. But if I am looking at the screen, there is some sort of like dynamic flow going on. That I don't know. I'm enjoying the way that this looks. I think that it feels just a lot less of that. Hello, this is what's happening in the news. Some of these apps, I think, if you were really pressed for time, you could get through reading some of these stories or having them read to you. But I don't know. I don't like it. It doesn't really feel right. This is very nice. By the way, somebody in chat asked. I looked for Winston in the App Store, and there's all sorts of like weird apps that don't make sense. This is an iPhone app. I am running it on my iPad, so make sure that you're on the iPhone tab and just type in Winston. It'll be the first result. On the iPad, there is no native app, so whatever you download would be something totally different in the iPad section. You can download an iPhone app on your iPad. So that's Winston. I thought it was kind of interesting. If anyone wants to play around with Winston, or already have been, and want to let us know. If it's working for you, if it's not, or what can change, or why it's better, do let us know.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of letting us know, we got a bunch of great feedback. We love getting videos and emails and tweets, and we kind of have a combination of feedback in those different forms this week. First up, we have a video from Daniel who sent us some LinkedIn tips based on our discussion last week when we were talking about wanting to learn how to use LinkedIn better.
Hey, Amber and Sarah, this is Daniel from Malaysia. And regarding about Amber's question about networking with people on LinkedIn, LinkedIn always suffer from the fact that people just like to set up their profile and just add a couple of friends. And usually they will access it during when they change job or anything. And LinkedIn has been trying to do several stuff actually to encourage people to stay in LinkedIn longer. For example, the iPad app. The iPad app is fantastic. It actually syncs to your syncs to your event calendar and etc. But one of the things that I actually found which is really useful when to network with people over in LinkedIn is to look at groups with various interests. So you can actually see who's actually active on LinkedIn, and that is actually a good place to post your content. And we get quite a lot of good content and also a lot of leads from there. So I hope that is a good tip. So see you guys, and thanks for the show.
Thanks, Daniel.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I think he's definitely onto something where something went wrong. Oh, God, I always forget my LinkedIn password, for goodness sake. Well, I don't know. Something's wrong with LinkedIn. I'm pretty sure that's my password. But when you're in the iPad app, he mentioned you can pull from your calendar and help sort of populate not only what is going on with you, but how you might be able to make a connection with someone else that's obviously work related and make it work for you just based on your own busy schedule. And also LinkedIn groups. Amber, do you have much experience with LinkedIn groups?
Well, I don't have a lot of experience making groups, but I know, it's funny that you mentioned that. And I think that he's bang on with that tip because I know a lot of people, I know brands, especially in the B2B space, who really depend on LinkedIn groups to go and kind of build up their profile on LinkedIn. And it's the one way to get people together to talk about certain industries or subject matter and really kind of get a very vibrant conversation going on. So I think that's a really good tip. If you want to have more of a conversation on LinkedIn, it's not just about updating your profile and your employment history and all that stuff. It's about creating groups because that's where the majority of conversation, I think, happens on LinkedIn, aside from just status updates.
By the way, I finally got into LinkedIn. I had forgotten my password, sure enough. If you go into your settings, which is upper left-hand corner here, the little gear, and then you go ahead and turn show calendar on, it'll be off by default. This is kind of neat because if you are going to be meeting somebody and they've got a LinkedIn profile that's associated with their contact name, you can get information about them from their LinkedIn profile pulled in. So through LinkedIn, you can kind of see a view of your calendar that has, I don't actually have anybody that I'm meeting, so I can't really show you, in the next couple of weeks how this works because I don't meet many people outside of Twit these days. But yeah, that's a really great feature and maybe
That's
something
fun.
that a lot of people don't realize you can do with LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's really fun. Sarah, next up we have an email. Do you want to take this email? It's a long one, but a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. Eric wrote in and he said, in regards to your discussion, this is from last week when we were talking about maturity ratings. Vine had been pulled from Apple's App Store and then allowed back in after it was given a 17 plus rating, after it agreed to give itself a 17 plus rating. Tumblr, the same thing, 500 pics. Eric says, I think the current theory behind maturity ratings for apps is a little misguided and needs evolution. It's clearly molded on the decades-old movie rating system, but in that case, the powers that be are reviewing a finished, unchanging product. I have various social network accounts, and the frequent profanity and occasional nudity that shows up in my feeds is a product of the people I follow, not the apps themselves. Giving applications with the potential for adult content the same maturity rating as an app like Growler, which is based on adult content, is misleading. Any social app rating system should take into account that an app isn't designed to deliver adult content, even if it can possibly be used to deliver that content to those who are seeking it. 17 plus ratings, to me at least, should be reserved for those apps where adult content is the point of the app. I think that Eric is on the right track. It's
interesting.
It's not that Vine was built for pornography or anything like that, but I think that it's I think Eric makes a really good argument. However, if a service kind of gets into the hands of the users, and as we've seen, especially with social networks, sometimes it sort of grows into something. I mean, remember, Twitter didn't even have hashtags. That was something that the users made up, and now Twitter's using hashtags as a way, for monetization and to work with other brands. Sometimes a network can almost get away from the parent company, and that sort of has to be addressed. I mean, if there's an issue with nudity or profanity or something that needs a mature rating, you can't necessarily ignore it forever.
Yeah, I think it's a good point, though. With giving it that mature rating, you almost negate those apps or services that should be given that rating because they have like legitimate features and functionality catered towards a more adult audience. So anyway, very, very interesting point from Eric on that one. Let us know what you guys think and see if people disagree or agree with this statement.
For sure.
Also, Sarah, an interesting email from Jude and kind of neat. So Jude took a screenshot of Foursquare and says, I haven't seen a company advertise employment opportunities via Foursquare before. Evidently, if you visit enough, you might as well work there. Definitely an interesting use case. Enjoying the show more every week. All the best, Jude. And Jude sent us that screenshot where he or she, I'm not sure if it's a he or she, showed checking in at a certain establishment. I can't quite read it, Sarah, but what's the text on that?
It's Red Robin Gourmet Burgers, which is a burger joint. Jude went ahead and checked in, and not only did Jude get a Happy Valentine's Day little badge, your first time at Red Robin Gourmet Burgers, first of his friends to check in here. But then in the recent update, and this is from the venue itself, it says, you like us on Foursquare, why not come work for us? Apply today with a URL, which I don't believe is clickable. I don't know, maybe URLs are clickable within the Foursquare app. But it's Red Robin basically saying, if you like us, if you like being here, maybe you'd like to work here. And I have never seen anything like that either. Good call, Jude. Good catch.
Yeah, no kidding. That's very cool. I haven't seen that either. But another use case for Foursquare, and it's funny because I've done quite a few keynote speeches before about social media recruiting, and I've always kind of left Foursquare out of the equation, Sarah, because I think, how is a business going to be able to recruit on Foursquare? But here's a perfect example of a company kind of taking that extra step. So it's definitely a fun one. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thanks, Jude. And thanks you should let us know how Red Robin was. Gourmet burgers. Sounds good, right? What are you laughing at?
Can't go wrong.
Going to the mall?
is that a mall chain?
Yeah, it's a mall.
Oh, okay. Leo Laporte says that Red Robin Burgers is just a mall chain. They said gourmet. Nothing wrong with working at the mall. That's where I like to hang out a lot. Not true. All right, Amber, let's get into our meme of the week. This is a pretty obvious one.
Yes, it is. And thanks to Mashable, they've put together a list of some of the more interesting photos that have gone around the internet just today after we had that situation in Russia where the meteor exploded and injured, unfortunately, hundreds of people. But some people online have been creative with that little news item and, of course, very quickly got some of these Photoshop photos out and online that are making the rounds. A bunch of these here.
Oh yeah. Got it. The thing is like, and we have to, of course. I mean, the fact that there was, buildings that were destroyed and people that got hurt this is no joke. I mean, a meteor crashed into Earth and did some damage. However, so much of the footage that we saw, it's so amazing. I mean, it looks like it just doesn't look real, but that actually happened. So
I know that
I do kind of get a kick out of something like that.
That iPhone screenshot that you guys just went over, the weather forecast in that app. Mm-hmm. The idea that they forecast meteor showers is one of the forecasts at the top. That's a pretty good one. I thought that was one of the more clever photoshopped pieces that I've seen around.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's just there's so much footage, and actually, Amber, there was a great story on Circa, which is it's something I've talked about on I5. It's basically news synopses of a variety of different news sources, but a link to Circa that explained why do so many Russians have dashboard cams? Because there were all these videos of people who are supposedly just sort of driving along, and then all of a sudden there's the meteor, and you can see it, and it's like, well, why do they have the cameras on in the first place? That's a little strange. And the story apparently is dashboard-mounted cameras are common in Russia, where they're seen as a form of protection against a corrupt police force. In a country ranked 133 on Transparency International's Corruption Index, police have been known to crash into drivers to extort money from them. So I guess if you've got a dashboard camera, you have that much more evidence that something like that might be going on. It goes on to say cameras have caught some bizarre incidents on Russian roads, much to the delight of YouTube viewers. Shannon Morse was actually telling me about this. She's like, oh, you gotta like look on YouTube for Russian dashboard cams, and you see all sorts of crazy stuff. And yeah, this is just one of those coincidental incidents, because this happened to happen in a country where I guess dashboard cams are a little bit more prevalent, at least than they are here. And you get some sort of beautiful, amazing, scary science videos.
Yeah, just crazy. I watched a bunch of interviews with Bill Nye, the science guy, about what was happening with the meteor and the asteroid that is coming not too close to Earth, but definitely within a distance that people are a little bit concerned about it. But it's been so fascinating to watch all of this happen over the past 24 hours. And it's a perfect thing for an internet meme. So not a big surprise there that people have gotten so creative with it, but they've had some fun with it.
They definitely have. So thanks to everybody who helped us make our show. We're not quite done yet, but want to make sure that you know how to get a hold of us. If you've got ideas for memes, or you want to make us a video as something that we talked about, or you want to send us a little note, or you've got some ideas about that maturity rating email that we talked about a few minutes ago, we do want to hear from you. So you can write us at thesocialhour@twit.tv. You can send us a voicemail. The number is 2626-SOCIAL. So 2626 SOCIAL. That's our Google voicemail box. Leave us a message if you're feeling brave. Got a few hangups this week, so nobody brave enough to actually talk to us, just brave enough to listen to our message. Or record a video and upload it, as Daniel from Malaysia did. Thank you, Daniel. Send us the link, and we'll try to add it to a future episode of The Social Hour. All right, Amber, let's finish off with Rad or Fad.
Okay, so for this week's Rad or Fad, I had to bring up a video, or a theme of a video that has gone viral over the past week or so, because you really can't go anywhere online without seeing someone do the Harlem Shake. And, if I just search Harlem Shake here within Google in news, I can see everyone from Sports Illustrated models to museums to school, and the list goes on and on. You're showing right now a blog post about some of the top Harlem Shake videos. From Jimmy Fallon, for example, from a bunch of other people, I think some synchronized swimmers. And it seems like this is taking over Gangnam Style as the latest craze on the internet. Sarah, is it rad? Is it a fad? Or is it just plain over? Should we stop? What do you think?
I don't know what to make of it. Now, we're showing Matt and Kim that they're a musical duo. I actually really like them. This is their Harlem Shake, and is pretty cool because they have the opportunity to shoot themselves in front of, like this big auditorium of screaming fans and that sort of thing. But Amber, I understand what it is. I understand how to make a Harlem Shake video. I just don't know that I find it very compelling. I don't know why. I mean, at least with Gangnam Style, it was like, well, he's got this song and he's got this crazy dance, and you can sort of reenact these sort of weird scenes that are in the music video, that kind of thing. I don't know. I think it's definitely rad because some of them are very creative. There was a Twin Peaks themed one with Kyle MacLachlan that was very strange, that somebody shared on Twitter the other night, and I was like, I gotta retweet this because it's Twin Peaks based and I like that sort of stuff. But it doesn't make much sense to me.
Because I don't think it doesn't feel like it's choreographed. I mean, that was the difference. Remember the Thriller thing in the prison? I believe it was in some South Korea, perhaps. We've seen this with many other people doing these choreographed dance, whether it's something to do with a Michael Jackson video or recently Gangnam Style, and it has that choreography. Whereas I think with the Harlem Shake, it just looks like a bunch of people are doing almost like a flash mob. I mean, It's hard to identify the difference. Fortunately, there is a Wikipedia entry for the Harlem Shake meme, and this will give you a little bit more insight into what's going on. And basically, they say that each video for the Harlem Shake meme videos going around begins with one person who often has a mask on, dancing to the song alone for 15 seconds, surrounded by other people unaware of the dancing individual. When the bass drops, the camera transitions to the entire crowd doing the dance for the next 15 seconds, often wearing a minimum of clothing or weird outfits or costumes while wielding strange props. The success of the video was attributed to its breakout moment and short length, of which the first version of the widely accepted and adopted internet meme was created by 5 teenagers known as the Sunny Coast Skate from Queensland, Australia. So if you want to do the Harlem Shake, check out Wikipedia and you'll see how it begins. And I think once you have that information, you understand the context of all these videos. But if you don't, it's not something you just get and you're like, oh, that's the Harlem Shake. You're kind of like, is this a flash mob?
Yeah.
Is someone trying to set a world record? You know, there's no rhythm to it all. It's very random. So I don't know. I feel like it's falling into the fad category.
Well, also, Amber, it's like, I mean, we've got late night TV show, talk show hosts, like Jimmy Fallon and his team did one. We've got really, famous musical artists that done it. It's like, at this point, who can do a Harlem Shake that anyone's that impressed by, right?
That's the problem.
That's the fad thing. It's like we've plateaued. I mean, like all the cool people have already done it. So at this point, I can't put together anything that's going to impress anyone.
You can't. You can't impress anyone.
The cool people have already ruined it.
It's kind of over. I mean, I don't want to discount the fact that a bunch of people getting together and dancing is super fun, and obviously it's a positive thing. But on the other hand, I think that maybe this is more of a fad because we've crossed the tipping point. You know, it's already happened and it's gone into the not cool anymore area.
Yeah,
I think
it's the epitome of fad. You know, that's the way it goes. Somebody mentioned in chat I could do a cat version. I haven't seen one of those yet, but I bet one already exists. I'm going to have to go ahead and bet one already exists. And I'm not sure how well my cats understand the drop. So.
Or how much they want to wear masks.
Or that. They don't really like doing that at all. Like doing it at all. Well, maybe that'll be a weekend project.
How do you know, Sarah? You're not going to get away with saying that without me knowing.
There was a Christmas card incident one year, and I learned my cats don't like wearing things. No, that's all I'm going to say about that.
I don't like wearing costumes or anything either. I can understand your cats. Yeah. I'll probably never say that again on the show, but.
I thought you were going to say, I don't like wearing anything either. It's like.
No, you know, it's funny,
example,
like early on. I did this when I worked with Leo doing Call for Help years ago. I dressed up for Halloween in this like go-go girl kind of dancer outfit, like kind of pink pleather. And then after that, I was like, wow, this kind of stayed online forever. And I decided that at least for my TV career, I would never wear costumes again. And now I refuse to wear costumes. So, yeah, I understand your cats. That's all I can say.
All right. Well, on that note, Amber is not going to dress up for Halloween, and just don't even expect her to.
Don't even try.
But there was, some sort of a pink outfit that maybe is floating around online. So
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with your San Francisco 49ers Snuggie.
Hey, that was that. It didn't do what it needed to do. So yeah, I'll never wear it again. It was actually a bad luck Snuggie after all, and very warm. But very good looking. I mean, that's some attractive stuff right there. All right, Amber, before I embarrass myself further, I think we should finish this episode of The Social Hour. It was a fun one. Remember, everybody who's not watching us live, you can watch us live. We record the show every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. It's right after This Week in Law, which is right after Tech News Today. It's a great day for content on Fridays. But if you don't watch us live, of course, you can watch us on demand, a variety of different ways, video feeds, audio feeds, all that good stuff. And our website, of course, is twit.tv/TSH. You want to keep up with us that way. Until next time, I'm Sarah Lane.
And I'm Amber MacArthur, and we'll see you soon.
Goodbye.